Why do you want increasing returns to scale with your effort? Hello, YouTube. This is Dr. Dave Massack talking about reciprocity.com. It is a sharing economy, a proofreading platform that I am trying to build. So today I wanted to talk about issues with small business and entrepreneurship. I'm calling this Small Business Saturdays. I'm trying to put out a video every Saturday about this kind of stuff. So the question I wanted to ask or I wanted to talk about was, why do you want increasing returns to scale with your effort? So this is an issue that a lot of people think about, or maybe nobody thinks about it, right? So increasing returns to scale occurs when the output that you have, the amount of stuff that you are producing, increases dramatically and by magnitudes or a greater proportion than what the effort you put in or the input that you put in. So say you are an individual and you're putting in a large amount of effort, and this effort continues to grow, the output you get continues to grow. The opposite of this, and I'll get into an example, I'll get into a couple of examples in a minute. The opposites of this is you have constant returns to scale. The amount of effort that you put in it results in basically the same amount of effort as you get out, and that doesn't change over the long run. The other is decreasing returns to scale, and this is the amount that you put in results in decreasing decreasing output. This is actually the most cases. This is actually what happens: is you get decreasing returns to scale with almost everything that you do. So the more effort that you put in doesn't necessarily equate to more increased it doesn't increase to more output. And this is the idea of diminishing returns to scale is, so for example of this is when I myself, I'm a PhD and I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship at a large state institution in Florida. When I work and I put in more effort on a daily basis, and I work really, really hard to produce papers, we're supposed to do research, this doesn't necessarily equate to more research in the long run. In fact, often what happens if you put in longer and longer days, for example, if you're working longer and longer, say I increase my output from 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day to 18 hours a day, I'm going to see a dramatic decrease in my output on a daily basis because I'm tired, I'm exhausted, there's lots of fatigue. Life gets in the way. This is probably the most important thing that you'll find out, or that a lot of us find out when you're doing sort of the entrepreneurial thing. Being a professor is very entrepreneurial. That there is a lot of life that gets in the way, and you have to sort of maintain that life in the long run. And this decreases the amount of production that you could put out with the more effort that you're putting in. And that is totally normal. That's the normal way of things, how things operate. The other way that what I wanted to talk about was the increasing returns to scale. And the way that you get increasing returns to scale, this is where the more effort you put in actually increases the amount of output that you can get. And this will happen over the long run. This is not something that it just happens overnight. Actually, in the short run, you get decreasing returns to scale. But in the long run, you can get these increasing returns to scale. So this is something that you can increase the more that you put in, and you build different systems at play, the more that you can get out. So things that generate network effects are the classic example of this, right? So the more that you can think about how you can generate network effects. So for example, things that are interconnected and communicate to you, social networks, for example, the reason why they grow so quickly and increase so quickly is because they have these network effects, and that is getting increasing returns to scale. The more that it grows, the more useful it becomes for people. Some forms of education, for example, are really, I personally think, that do result in increasing returns to scale. And this is where you get maybe sort of transformational ideas. Right, so it's not just thinking about sort of incremental things and improving the way that you're doing something on an incremental scale, but thinking about how you can generate sort of these these transformational mind flips. You get a different mind shift where you can see the world completely differently. You can get some increasing returns to scale from that. So taking courses, for example, some courses will result in that, some don't. Um, and then other things like general purpose technologies is thinking in the long run, or things in the economy that are very applicable across many different things, and they sort of provide a platform across many different things, such as computing, for example, such as the steam engine, electricity, things like that will have increasing returns to scale. And um, an example that I'm trying to build out right now is having an app or a platform in the gig economy where people come to meet on the particular platform. That's why I'm building reciprocity. People can come and share things, learn how to proofread their own work, or learn get somebody else to proofread their work, that kind of stuff. Other forms of outsourcing, for example, Upwork has definitely, you can get increasing returns of scale. If you can outsource a lot of the stuff that you're working on and put it onto Upwork, I think it's a great platform. You can definitely, the more work that you put in, the more effort that you can get out of it, more output that you can get out of it, as long as you're thinking from a systems perspective and you're thinking about how to focus on developing your business to make it a, sort of solve problems repeatedly. You don't want to solve the same problem and do sort of firefighting, but you want to focus on how you can actually solve problems in the long run and make it easier for people to make it easier for yourself to, so you're pushing down the decision making authority to other people, such that they're making the decisions for you and that you don't have to make all those decisions along the way. Um, so from what I understand in economics, this is actually a really difficult problem to solve empirically. This is a really tricky thing to deal with when you have increasing returns of scale, because it essentially means that you can get exploding effort, right? The more that you put in, the more sort of effort that you're going to get out, and it's kind of going to explode. And eventually, um, you can, it just means that you're getting sort of infinite productivity eventually. So what this means is, because of this problem, a lot of people, and I myself actually don't believe that you can get increasing returns to scale for a very, very long time. It's usually a temporary thing where uh, what ends up happening is you get maybe some diseconomies of scale. So for example, management, it becomes really difficult to manage different things, and you have to sort of focus on how do you, so it's, if you're pushing down all your decision-making authority, eventually those particular individuals on the lower levels are going to have to make their own decisions as well, and have maybe other people under them, and then they're going to have other management issues and problems. There's a whole wide array of management issues and organizational issues that people have to deal with as you go through this, and as it gets larger and larger. So it's something to think about. You do get these increasing returns of scale, sort of in the medium term, maybe in the long term, that you can grow something very quickly, and it will pay off in the long run. But then eventually you will run into issues where you have management problems and it becomes difficult to do. So this is the reason currently, the largest corporations maybe have, off the top of my head, I'm probably going to be wrong. Somebody's going to correct me on this, but maybe 150,000 people working under them. Maybe Uber is much larger than that. I don't know and how you sort of count that. But this is the reason why it is sort of difficult to manage. The reason why we don't have a large number of people working, and this number grows over time, right? It's going to get larger and larger as we get better technology to manage individuals. That the reason why we have a certain limit on the number of people that are under an organization at any given time is simply because we have these diseconomies of scale. It's sort of hard, it becomes difficult to manage over time. So with that, if you like these videos, if you think this is an interesting idea, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to help out, and for those of you already subscribed, you're so cool, you're amazing, love you. And for those of you who want to help out the Reciprocity Project, just go on to the website, log in. You can purchase some credits if you want, get your own work done. It does work. I want to, it's sort of very bare minimum at this moment, right? It's called a minimal viable product. Very, very bare minimum, but it works. And people are going on there and logging in, and it's really fun to see that. And it is a privilege to be part of this, and privilege to help you all out. So thank you so much, and have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.